Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TheLuckyDerp here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go to the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if you didn't know, only 25% of you guys are subscribed to us, so please hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. In this deep dive, we'll be exploring the story and mind of Bondrewed from Made in Abyss. Known as Bondrewed the Novel, the Lord of Dawn, and the Sovereign of Dawn, is a legendary white whistle who made many discoveries about the secrets in the Abyss. While originally a respected researcher, his unethical experiments led him to be hunted by other delvers who didn't agree with his ideals. He is known as a criminal and villain, not someone that anyone wants to come across or interact with. The earliest history known of Bondrewed is that he caused some sort of criminal offense in a foreign country and became a bounty for hunters. He made plans to become a delver to explore the Abyss and raised money for his research for unethical means. He sold illegal drugs created from humans' experimentations along with rare relics and artifacts. Whenever bounty hunters would catch up to him to bring him in, they would disappear without a trace, causing people to fear him. His research became his life, and 15 years before the start of the story, he stole the special grade artifact, the Zaholic. This artifact gives the user the power to spread their consciousness throughout other living beings at the cost of making them lose their mind and becoming insane. After creating a group of black whistle delvers called the Umbra Hands as extra bodies for him to inhabit, he used the Zaholic to spread his consciousness to these other bodies. After creating his base in the 5th layer that led to the 6th layer, he sacrificed his body using the Soul Slave Machine to create a copy of himself and become his own white whistle. Even though he was now just a soul traveling between bodies, he still wanted to learn more about the secrets in the Abyss. His next experiment is when he first made contact with Nanachi and Midi. He went to the surface and gathered orphan children to use as test subjects, offering them the chance to explore the Abyss and do something with their lives. Nanachi and Midi were part of this group of children. Bondrewed took the children below the surface to the 5th layer, where he kept them at idle front. He used each child to test what would happen when they were dropped down the 6th layer and rapidly ascended back to the 5th layer. The result was all these children became Nahates or Hollows. Nanachi and Midi were the last 2 children of the group left, and he decided to use both of them at once in his experiment when Nanachi refused to leave Midi's side. The result of this experiment was Midi receiving the curse of the Abyss, turning into a deformed blob, and Nanachi receiving a blessing of the Abyss, keeping their humanity and most humanoid body. Bondrewed used Nanachi as an assistant to his experiments, focusing on turning children into cartridges. These were used to sustain his energy by having the cartridges receive the curse of the Abyss, the loss of humanity whenever he ascends the layers, keeping him safe. The cartridges consisted of the children's brain and internal organs, along with enough fluids to keep them alive, in terror, pain, and ecstasy for a few days before expiring. Bondrewed also experimented on Midi, using relics to attack her and see what would be effective in killing her. Most of the attacks did nothing to her, and she regenerated her body, albeit in extreme pain. The only relic that did any permanent damage was Sparg Moss, which destroyed her left eye permanently. Shortly after this event, Nanachi was unable to keep causing pain to Midi and escaped with her, staying and hiding from Bondrewed in his Umbra hands. Sometime after Midi and Nanachi escaped, one of Bondrewed's Umbra hands had a daughter who was having mental breakdowns in the base. When she was a toddler, she was in an accident while ascending through the 5th layer and received the curse of the Abyss. She survived, but suffered from extreme mental trauma and physical damage. Another Umbra hand attempted to heal her but failed. They considered putting the girl out of her misery until Bondrewed approached her and decided to keep her as his daughter. He named her Pushka, which meant Flower of Dawn. Pushka's mental state was still unstable, and she constantly hid in small dark places along with having hysterical fits. Bondrewed eventually gifted her with a small creature called a Ministillum, which managed to catch Pushka's attention and calm her down. Since Pushka was able to finally begin recovering, he proudly told her that that day would be her birthday. Even though she was recovering well and becoming similar to a normal child, she climbed a staircase and suffered from the curse of the 5th layer again. She was damaged physically again, but seemed to recover her mental state more quickly than before. Throughout all of this, Bondrewed stayed as a loving father to Pushka. After Midi was killed in the main storyline, Bondrewed became aware of it due to a light he had that would stay lit as long as Midi was alive. It was revealed that he had similar lights to each child who had become a Narahate due to his experiments. He soon expects Nanachi, Riko, and Reg to make their way down to the 5th layer and welcomed them to Edo Front. He offered them to stay at his base and informed them how to reach the 6th layer. When he saw Nanachi again, he congratulated them on killing Midi, freeing themselves and able to move forward with their lives. During the night, he met with Nanachi and asked them to become his assistant again. Nanachi agreed, but on the condition that Rico and Reg be unharmed and allowed to progress to the 6th layer. Unfortunately, Bondrewed had already given the order to his Umbra hands to inspect Reg's body and experiment on him. Nanachi and Rico were able to rescue Reg and escape with Prishka in tow. She wants to go with them, but says she knows her papa is a kind person and is sure she can convince him to change his mind. Unbeknownst to her, Bondrewed follows the trio with his Umbra hands. Reg and Bondrewed battle each other, culminating in Reg dragging Bondrewed to the bottom of the ocean, forcing him to ascend quickly. The curse of the abyss caused Bondrewed's body to swell up and implode. Prishka arrives with another Umbra hand and is devastated when she sees her father dying. Because of the Zoaholic, Bondrewed is able to take over the body of the arrived Umbra hand, which completes when he places his helmet on the new body. Prishka is overjoyed he survived and is taken back to Ido Front by Bondrewed. He also invites Nanachi, Rico, and Reg to return as well. Before we get back into the dive, I'd like to say that in case you guys didn't know, we're only one of many We the Celestials channels. If you have a sugar tooth for great storytelling, please give our What If channels a visit as well. No matter if it's My Hero Academia What Ifs or Naruto What Ifs, we've got you covered. Did we get your attention? Great! Make sure you click the icon on the top right corner or check the description below for the link to the other channels. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the dive. When Bondrewed returns to his base, he decides to turn Prishka into a cartridge, knowing that her love for him will make him receive the blessing of the abyss when he eventually ascends again. He learns that the trio wants to ambush him at Stingerhead Nest and sends his Umbra hand to fight, sacrificing them so he could work on Prishka's cartridge. Nanachi, Rico, and Reg return to Ido Front, and it comes to light what the cartridges are. Sickened by his actions, Reg fights with Bondrewed again, who receives the blessing of the abyss from Prishka when he ascends from the miniature Garden of Dawn during the battle. Reg manages to finally defeat Bondrewed, who transferred his soul to a second time to another body, and congratulates them on beating him. Prishka's consciousness on the cartridge has a strong desire to continue adventuring with Rico, and she becomes Rico's white whistle. Bondrewed allows the group, including Minya, to proceed to the 6th layer, and says his new goal in life is to see them succeed on their journey. When the group travels to Iblu, Belef informs the trio that Bondrewed had visited the village multiple times in the past, and was known to the inhabitants. This makes Reg, Nanachi, and Bondrewed the only 3 known characters who went to the 6th layer and ascended while keeping their form and consciousness. As of right now, this is all we have seen of Bondrewed in the series, but he will likely show up again. Bondrewed's appearance is generally that of a tall man wearing all black clothing with a long coat and suit. He always wears a black helmet, which has a vertical line of light running down the middle of it. This helmet is passed on each body he possesses and seems to be the key feature. His real face has never been shown in the series so far. However, one of his eyes is shown a few times. The first time his eye appears is demonic and has multiple pupils, and his last appearance with a broken helmet shows a normal-looking green eye and pale skin. When he shifts into a second body after the fight with Reg, he now has a long lizard-like tail coming out of his undercoat. Bondrewed has many special abilities, but they all come from the power of relics and artifacts. Many of his artifacts are illegal and never officially put on auction, because they were never cataloged. Most of their names were created by him. His white whistle is unique, in that it was made from his body as opposed to someone else sacrificing themselves for him. The shape of his whistle is 2 hands clasped together and is used by rubbing it rather than blowing into it. He is able to keep surviving because of his cartridges and the Zoaholic. The cartridges deflect the curse of the abyss when he ascends, and the Zoaholic transfers his soul to other bodies when his current body is damaged. Other artifacts that he uses are the Stairway of Light, which release a band of light that focuses on the target of the user and is able to hit the weak spots on that target. The Cursed Steel, which is immediately forced to curse of the abyss to anyone who touches it. The Far Caress, which shoots out multiple strong and durable tendrils. Spargmas, which is a beam of light that destroys anything it touches permanently and is similar to Reg's Incinerator, and 2 other unknown relics that give him the ability to view events through others' eyes, and gives him almost indestructible armor. Bondrewed has an extremely complex personality. He lives for science but loves children in a fatherly way. Even though he executes very immoral experiments, he always focuses on facts rather than feelings. He pursues knowledge at the expense of whoever may stand in his way. He does not feel as though he's doing anything wrong and always remembers the names and personalities of those he sacrificed, such as telling Reg about his first cartridge he's disposed of, a girl named Reshma, who was a kind-hearted girl that dreamed of becoming a princess. When the trio enters the elevator that takes him to the 6th layer, they discover he is burning incense on the altar to mourn something or someone. He also is not hostile to those that consider him enemies, as he will praise them if they manage to best him, such as Reg. Even though his research and base were destroyed, he stayed cheerful and pleasant when conversing with the trio. When fighting with Reg, Bondrewed seems to enjoy combat, and expressing regret at cutting off Reg's arm, since it gives Reg a harder time. His mind has likely been driven crazy after using himself for experiments and transferring his soul to bodies multiple times. Being a white whistle and a researcher, many looked up to him with respect. The first being Mitty, who aspired to become a white whistle because of Bondrewed, and happily joined him to Edo Front. Nanachi was hesitant about following them, but did so out of respect for Bondrewed. Prishka was his adopted daughter, and they shared a mutual love for each other. That didn't go away even after he turned her into a cartridge. The Umbra hands that still have their own mind respect him as well, and refer to him as Sir. It seems as though Bondrewed is aware he can use people's feelings to his advantage, but he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. It'll be interesting to see how this character develops as the story reaches its conclusion. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, I'd like to thank our $5 and up Patreon supporters for helping fund these videos. Lastly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video, as well as the audio and video editor of this video. Their details are in the description below. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of those areas. We're always looking for more members to join us. That's it from us of today's video, so thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.